the veracity of what it is that he was telling me. How many people here are familiar with the gang war in cyberspace, LOD versus MOD?
Wow, look at that.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Never happened. Would it surprise you to find that out? That it never happened. There was no war in cyberspace. There was never a war between LOD and MOD. It was a complete fabrication.
But it was in the mass media.
That's true. It was in the mass media. That means it must be true, right?
I read it in the newspapers.
Yeah, all these guys read it. It was a fabrication by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the media people that I was friends with when I was indicted thought it was completely ludicrous and didn't report it as such. Other journalists of, let's say, lesser journalistic integrity latched onto the story because it made great print. Gang war in cyberspace. It was like literally the West Side Story of the hacker underground. We got the rich kids in Texas versus the inner city kids in New York. I mean, what better story to tell? Let's write some books, print some articles, write some magazine articles too, and, do some photo spreads, and, it makes for great copy. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. What I will say is that there was a great amount of disagreement and dissension within LOD in the late 1980s because of the fact that there was informing going on. Several members of the Legion of Doom had gotten busted under mysterious circumstances. People that we knew, people that we were affiliated in other countries. For example, a hacker group in Australia were busted under suspicious circumstances, which all led to a certain individual that we all know and love in Texas who had started one of the first hacker consultancies under the auspices of gaining clout with the FBI and telco security. The person I'm referring to is Eric Bloodaxe, in case it wasn't clear to anyone in the audience. He actually was a member of LOD. LOD was one of the first organized hacker groups in a very disorganized computer underground. And the main purpose of LOD initially was to take information, primarily that was found trashing at telco central offices, and type it in. And make it available in what were known as LOD tech journals, which were available online in text file sections of bulletin board systems, so-called elite bulletin board systems that required a certain amount of trust to gain access to. I see some people in the audience that were involved during those times that remember this.
Don't worry, we won't rat you out.
Yeah, thanks. What happened towards the late 1980s when there were things like Operation Sun Devil, which had nothing to do with LOD directly. There was EFF was formed. EFF got involved in my case, in some of the other hacker cases at the time. There was a lot more government involvement in the hacker underground in general, and because of that fact, two things happened. A lot of people who had not gotten in trouble yet didn't want to risk anymore. They were already older, particularly the older generation of hackers. Some guys that I knew who started LOD, for example, withdrew from the hacker underground, simply didn't want to risk getting in trouble anymore, now that the climate had changed so much. Other hackers, a few, let's say, thought that it might be good to go in the other direction and attempt to gain clout with the government and telco security by inviting them onto a bulletin board that was set up under the auspices of creating a dialogue between hackers and security people and the FBI and Secret Service. Well, might sound a little ridiculous to think about, but the FBI thought it was great because it gave them a chance to chat with hackers and then arrest them. So it was really convenient for everyone involved.
Go straight to jail.
One-stop shopping.
Exactly. I personally had a big problem with this, not only with the security consultancy that was set up in Texas, but also with the fact that Eric Bloodaxe thought it would be a really great idea to try to bring back LOD for what it was. In the absence of any real leadership in the group anymore, because anyone who mattered anymore had withdrawn, he basically appointed himself leader of the group, which is why whenever you read old stories in the media, it says LOD versus MOD. A lot of that was bolstered by he himself, in addition to the media and the government later.
Well, Freiber, we do need to move this along, but
Yeah.
just to summarize, you had a situation where this member of LOD narked on various people in New York because, according to him, he felt his business was in danger and he had to do something. And I think he later said he was sorry that you got caught up in all that. Is that right?
I mean, to make a long story short, it became known to even other LOD members who were wondering if I had heard anything about Eric Bloodaxe, because they were concerned for their own safety when they heard about what happened with some hackers in Australia and others, and suspected that he was involved. But he was trying to gain clout with the government to bolster his business, and in doing so was turning in hackers. When hackers found out he was doing this, they began harassing him at his business and so on, which is, you know, what hackers do in general. And certainly someone who's informing on other hackers is going to earn the wrath of other hackers. So he decided that I was responsible for this based on some previous disagreements we had had, and decided that he was going to inform on me and various of my friends here in New York by giving information to the FBI about us and so on and so forth. Ultimately, as Emmanuel said, and which is interesting because it goes in line with what Bernie said, is that after some time passes, and I guess these people have a guilty conscience, they try to contact you and clear their conscience by apologizing. There is no apology for sending me to prison for a year. I'm sorry, but there just isn't.
And interesting footnote to all of this. After that whole escapade within your own loosely organized group, Masters of Deception, MOD, you had not one but two informants.
Yeah. So as things fell apart, EFF was supporting us to go to trial. They felt that we were not guilty of what the U.S. attorneys were saying we did. There was even at least one attempt by one of the complainants in the case, British Telecom TimeNet, wanting to actually interview us, which, if we were given the opportunity, would have shown cooperation and would have given us the opportunity to tell them exactly what we did. We would have met the engineers that built the network. They were interested how we defeated their security. Sounds like a movie. But unfortunately, the U.S. Attorney's Office did not allow them to do this. So we were never given the opportunity to clear our name. So we were basically treated like criminals. And due to that fact, one by one, my friends, the guys that were named in the indictment, decided to plead guilty until I was the only one remaining. And it's, you know, the typical cliche of the last guy standing without a chair when the music stops. And what happened was two guys, some people are familiar with Julio and Alan, who was the person that Bernie was referring to, decided to testify against me. And as a result, they never did any time. They never did any time in prison to this day, which is ironic because in the indictment itself, they're among the people that are named the most.
This is typical.
This is
typical because I'm a well-known personality, I guess some would say, of some kind of celebrity status. The U.S. Attorney's Office wanted to use that fact to take advantage of that fact to set an example, as the judge said in the case, and as a result, they were willing to deal with the people who had the most to lose in the indictment, who were charged with the most counts in the indictment, in order to use me as the scapegoat and succeed in prosecuting somebody to make the corporations happy.
Well, no, we have, I think, 3 of the